UFC Fight Night, Marvin Vettori versus Roman DOLIDZE 2 is this weekend. I'm going to be predicting every single fight on the card, starting with the very first early prelim, all the way up to the main event. Starting off with the opener, if I can pull it up fast enough, because I was not prepared. Oh, yeah, right, two women's fights. Unice Dubin versus Carly Judas. So, Dubin was the women's fighter who beat whatever her name was. She was like the plus 950 underdog on the Contender Series and won by that first round overhand KO. She's 6-0. Carly Judas is 3-2. Her last fight was a loss. This was a split decision last June to Gabrielle Fernandez. So she kind of sucks. She was 3-1 when she joined the UFC. And I have no idea if that fight was on short notice or anything because of her record, but she was 3-0. She won her first three fights by KO, and then ever since she's got up to UFC level competition, she hasn't won. Dubin's 6-0. You know, she had that crazy knockout. Now, I will say, Dubin is a little not as in great shape. She's Latin American. I believe she's Venezuelan or Colombian, one of the two. Judas is American. I'll pick Dubin. My first round KO. No. Dubin by decision. I'll just say that. I don't know. She's 6-0. She has a better record. She is 5'4", has less of a reach. She's older, but she's 28. She's closer to her prime. I don't think that KO is a complete fluke. She's clearly got power. I mean, that fucking lady she knocked out was barely a lady. I mean, that she was roided up to the gills, and she looked like fucking Kayla Harrison on, Kayla Harrison Walmart edition. But I'm gonna just say Dubin by decision. Moving up the card, Jose Nunez versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Josiane Nunez, she looks more like a man. I will say, Priscilla's last fight was against Jasmine Jasdavicius. So, she has good competition. She lost by submission, though. She's 36 years old. Josiane Nunez, she looks more like a man. She lost by split decision to Jacqueline Cavalcanti. Of course, it could probably go both ways. They're women. She's 5 inches shorter. Actually, I was going to pick Josiane Nunez, but seeing that, 5 inches? God, that's a lot, guys. I have no idea. I'll go with Priscilla. I know she's old, but generally that doesn't really matter at the low-level women's MMA. She has fought much better competition. Jacqueline Cavalcanti's good. I think she's okay. But losing to her, comparing to losing to Jasmine Jasdavicius, just completely different things. Now, Priscilla did lose by submission, while, it was a split decision for Nunez. She does look more like a man. I'm going to pick Priscilla. I think, she has more experience against better competition, and they're both coming off losses. I'm going to trust the person who's had more competition and who's also 5 inches taller. Moving up on the card, I'm going to say by decision. Shocker. Daniel Barres versus Andre Lima. Now, this fight, Lima's 10-0. He's been unimpressive to me. He had the first fight where he won by DQ because the dude bit him. I think he was winning the fight up until that point, so he bit him kind of out of frustration, but, still doesn't really, matter. But in his second fight, he looked good. He's rangy. He's big for the division. He's got good takedown defense. He's got good grappling tendencies. He's smart. He's not going to throw any stupid shit, but he's also kind of a decisionator. At least that's what I saw in his last fight. I didn't see a lot of going for a finish or really trying to push the pace. I felt like he was just kind of outpointing his opponent. Daniel Barres, though. They're both coming off wins. Andre Lima, Felipe Dos Santos gave a really good fight to Manel Cap. People forget, man. Felipe Dos Santos on short notice. People forget, man. That's a good win, but he didn't look as good in that fight, so I'm not going to give like too much credit. But Barres is not that good. He's got a 17-6 record. He's from Spain. He lost on the Contender Series to Carlos Hernandez a while back, a few years ago. I mean, that's a fucking tell in itself. I believe it was by split decision, but I'm not even looking at it right now. I'm just trying to pull that off the top of my head. I'm just looking at the comparison between them two. Lima's got more size on him. They're pretty even, though. He's a little bit of a longer reach. And Barres is 36. Lima's 26. We've seen a lot of undefeated fighters lose this year. Half of them I've probably predicted. Half of them I've predicted the other way. Like Austin Bash, I wasn't expecting to lose, but I should have. It was C-Rod. But I did pick Merab. I was picking Merab the whole way, guys. All right? I'm an expert. Andre Lima, I'm going to say by decision. 3-round, unanimous, outpoints him on the feet. Moving up. Oh! Stephanie Luciano versus Sam Hughes, the GOAT! I'm picking Sam Hughes. This is where she thrives, when she's the underdog and she's fighting someone who's Brazilian and looks like they could actually fight and has technique and young and, and prosperous. But Sam Hughes, the unathleticism, the lack of finishing ability, the special skill of being so ugly, she will get the win, guys. And, she won by split decision over Victoria Dudikova, which I think Dudikova is very good. But Dudikova did get finished in her last fight. So, maybe Dudikova is not very good. Luciano is young. I hope she wins because it'd be better for the sport to have a young person win. But I'm going to pick Sam Hughes for shits and gigs. I'm not going to give an in-depth analysis because who the fuck cares? Sam Hughes, 3-round decision. Split. Shocker. I already made that joke. Up the card. Carlos Vera versus Josias Musasa. Is it Musasa? It is Musasa. I'm going to go with Musasa. Young guy. Coming off the Contender Series win. Carlos Vera, 37. Coming off a decision loss to Rini Nakamura, which in hindsight has aged poorly. Nakamura got exposed by Muin Gafarov, especially in his grappling. Like, how do you let Muin Gafarov out-grapple you when you're, like, this prestigious wrestler? But I think that's what we learned about, wrestling credentials in Japan. Tatsuro Taira is really good with jiu-jitsu. But his wrestling isn't, like, special. I think we saw Brandon Royval kind of do a good job of exposing that in their fight. But Tatsuro Taira is much different than Rini Nakamura. Much better. Absolutely so much better. But losing by unanimous to him. Carlos Vera's on his way out the UFC. This is a pretty good layup for Musasa. He's got 5 inches of reach advantage. He's got a size advantage by a couple inches. He's going to be heavier in the octagon. He's from Africa. He's from Congo, I believe. Let me double check. It's not telling me. Whatever. I believe he's from Congo. And I just trust him more. Carlos Vera has not looked good recently. He's old. He's on his way out the UFC. 11-4. I'm picking the undefeated young guy. Simple. I don't need to give an in-depth analysis when it's that simple. Okay? Musasa's going to have more power in there. I think he might finish him. You know what? I'm going to say it's either going to be a decision or I think Musasa's going to win. And I'm going to say by 3rd round. I'm going to say by decision. I think he's not going to look super, super impressive. Vera's not good by any means at this level in the UFC. At this time in his career, he's just not the same. And I just do think that Musasa will get it done. But I'm going to say by decision, he's not going to look super, super impressive, but he will look good and better than Carlos Vera and will get the win. So by decision, Josias Musasa. Moving up the card, Sung Young Yu versus AJ Cunningham. Oof, guys. This is a hard fight. I'm not too sure. AJ Cunningham recently fought Ludovic Klein. That was over a year ago now. Now that I look at it, holy shit, that's crazy to think that was over a year ago. He got KO'd, but you know, up a weight class. What are you gonna do? Sung Young Yu is coming off a win by UD. We're gonna pick AJ Cunningham. I like the time off for him. You know, he had the KO, accepted a short notice fight. You know, what are you gonna do? It happens. I don't trust a lot of Korean fighters. A lot of them, you know, there's a lot of them don't succeed in the UFC. I'm just being real. Like, I really don't. And I'm going to, you know, we're going to get to that for another pick later in this video. Why do they always put all the Korean guys on Apex Fight Nights? Like, can we not do another Singapore card? Singapore's always awesome. Like the Holloway and Korean Zombie fight, Teixeira versus Prohashka. I mean, like, guys, what are we doing? Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna pick AJ Cunningham. I think he's going to KO Soo Young Yu. I think he's gonna KO him. Second round. Ryan Spann versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Okay. Lighter weight skill. That is the message of this fight. Ryan Spann's going to win. I've been waiting for this move from him. I think he did it too late in his career. Waldo Cortez Acosta is not terrible. But Spann is only 33, but he's been in the UFC for a while. You know, he won against Ovince St. Preux. Ovince St. Preux in big 2024. Ugh, God. Was that in the Apex? No, that was in Utah. That was in the Utah card last year. So he won, you know, more recently. Waldo Cortez Acosta's last win was against Robelis Despain, but that was in May of last year. I don't know why he took so much time off, because all he did against Despain was take him down and hold him against the canvas. There's no way he got injured that way, unless he got injured out of camp. I'm not sure if he did. But I don't understand why he's been out for so long. I don't love that. I mean, I get maybe he's trying to improve his skills now that he's, you know, the 12th ranked heavyweight. He showed that he has good wrestling. He's 12-1 in his career. He's on a 3-fight win streak. But he's kind of a fat blob. And Ryan Spann, he's a big dude. He's taller than Waldo Cortez Acosta. He's got more reach than Waldo Cortez Acosta. I think if you can beat Ovince St. Preux, I don't give a shit if it's in 2024, in big 2024. I don't give a shit. If you can beat a guy at light heavyweight, and you can be a ranked light heavyweight, as Ryan Spann was, I think he's going to absolutely dominate him in terms of skill. Now, the only thing that I could see happening in terms of going Cortez Acosta's way is taking him down and getting the grappling involved and just holding Spann against the canvas. But I do think Spann is good enough to defend takedowns for most of the fight. I think he's going to be much faster on the feet, and the fight starts on the feet. People forget, man. Fight starts on the feet. I think Ryan Spann's much more skilled on the feet than Waldo Cortez Acosta. It's going to be night and day, actually, when this fight, as soon as this fight starts. Give it 10 seconds and you're going to see it. I'm going to pick Ryan Spann by, I want to say early KO, but I don't think he has enough power to KO Waldo Cortez Acosta that early. But you know what? I'm going to say by submission. Ryan Spann, third round submission. Second round submission, Ryan Spann. I think he surprises Cortez Acosta. I think Cortez Acosta is starting to get fat and tired, and, you know, he's and plodding all over the place. Spann gets him up against the cage, gets in on a single leg, drags him down to the canvas, gets into a head and arm triangle. There you go. I'm going to say, yeah, second round submission by arm triangle choke. All right. Ryan Spann will get the win. Bet on him. Anyway, moving up the card. I believe he's an underdog, too. Is he an underdog? Yeah. Huh. Pick him. All right. I'd put money on that if I was old enough. CUS, I have to be 21. All right. Moving on to the main card. Seung-Woo Choi. 11-7. Jesus. Versus Kevin Vallejos. Now, Seung-Woo Choi has not had a break recently. All right, his last fight was against Steve Garcia. Now, he did get brutally slept in that fight in the first round, guys. And Steve Garcia is absolutely ranked worthy. You know, he's a tough dude. No true athleticism. One of my favorite fighters, actually, because he's so different. And I really do like Steve Garcia. I wish that fight with Edson and Barboza happened on the Seattle card. You're going to see a video tomorrow of me talking about some ways that the UFC's gone in this recent quarter. Little teaser if you're this late in my predictions video for this little fucking shitter butt Apex Fight Night card. Kevin Vallejos, guys. This guy is legit. All right. He is a little bit short for the featherweight division. Seung-Woo Choi is 6 foot. Vallejos is only 5'7". I do wish he could cut down, but he's big. He's strong. He's already built. He's only 23 years old. And his fight on the Contender Series was unbelievable. The guy he fought was so tough, but Vallejos, he's got that dip and rip modern style that we like to see from modern day MMA fighters. Jack Della Maddalena, Ilia Topuria. I'm not comparing him to these guys in terms of skill. But I mean, he's 14-1. He's absolutely got a similar style. He loves to tear up in the boxing range, get you to the body and go up top to finish a combination, and he wants to crack you and put you to sleep with a big right or left hook. Coming off the body, you know, that's what he wants. Seung-Woo Choi is 6 foot. He stands up straighter than you can imagine. He even stood up straight against Steve Garcia, who is like almost the same height as him. And Vallejos is going to be a lot shorter. 6-inch or 5-inch height advantage for Seung-Woo Choi. But I don't think it's going to matter in this fight. Seung-Woo Choi constantly moves backwards. He's a counter striker, and he's not good at it. So Kevin Vallejos is going to get him on the inside. I'm going to say by first round KO. Kevin Vallejos finishes him. Maybe in the second, but I'm going to say first for my official prediction. Kevin Vallejos, first round KO. Moving up the card. DR Nugoze versus Brenson Ribeiro. All right. DR is another guy. I'm not going to say his last name. All right. You're not clipping me. I got to be pretty careful on that one. Brenson Ribeiro, I think he's not very good. You know, he barely beat Machado coming down from heavyweight, which is never a good look if you're beating a guy coming down from heavyweight. Obviously, he's in shape now. Machado lost a lot of weight, but also heavyweight skill. You should not be split decisioning him. And I thought Machado won that fight, personally. But it was close, and Ribeiro got the win. But DR absolutely impressed on the Contender Series. He looked huge. He's got really good Muay Thai. He's really good in the clinch. You know, he's from Kazakhstan, and he does kind of have that similar, you know, Muay Thai clinch, offensive, you know, attacking style that Shavkat does, and that we've seen a lot of Kazakhstan fighters have. And I do think that DR is going to, and I do think, you know, he's from that area. He's probably going to have a grappling advantage, guys. And Brenson Ribeiro has not looked great in moments. So, and then also what I don't love is I believe he was booked to fight, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of Vitor Petrino. Fuck. No, I think it was Petrino I'm thinking of. But I'm going to go DR Nugazo. I'm going with DR. By, let's say, I don't think it'll be on the feet. I think it'll be Third round submission. Or actually, first round. First round submission. I think he gets him quick. By DR. Moving up the card. 4 fights left. Next one up, Damon Blackshear versus Cody Gibson. All right. Cody Gibson. Oh God, how is this? Like, we're almost to the main event, and these are the fights that we're getting. I like Damon Blackshear. I remember a couple years ago, he had that moment he had fights on back-to-back weekends. Nearly got the win. He had the twister submission as well. Blackshear's very decent. I believe he's coming off a loss, though, if I'm not crazy. No, okay, he's coming off oh, yeah, he submitted Cody Stamen. That's right. That's a good win. That's actually a decent win. Cody Gibson, he's also coming off a win, but he's 37, man. They're both the same height. Cody Gibson's not going to have his huge weight bully height advantage that he usually does. This guy's a teacher, all right? I mean, Cody Gibson's not going to just absolutely maul him with his talent. I think Damon Blackshear, 30 years old, he's in his prime. He's coming off a win over Cody Stamen, a finish win. This is just sad that that's what it comes down to. But I think Blackshear will win. I trust his wrestling ability against Cody Gibson. Gibson, I think, will have good takedown defense, though, because of his experience. But Blackshear, I think the athleticism, the youth, and I just think being more committed to the game at this point in his career. Cody Gibson obviously had the Ultimate Fighter. And now he's back after being a school teacher and, had his first UFC run. Now this is his second UFC run. And he's got a couple wins on his belt. It's not looking terrible. This is a good fight. The winner of this could absolutely be looking at a high-level unranked bantamweight guy. So this fight is somewhat interesting. But I think Damon Blackshear is more active. I think he's going to go for more. I think he's going to be more active just overall throughout the fight, shooting for takedowns, attacking him on the feet, pushing the pace, and I'm just going to say Blackshear by decision. I don't think Gibson gets finished, but I do say Damon Blackshear, decision, will get it done. Moving up a card, feature fight, Alexander Hernandez versus Kurt Holobaugh. God, what a banger. No. Hernandez got the split decision win over Austin Hubbard. I want to pick Hernandez so bad. He obviously, but he just hasn't looked the same. He never has looked the same than he did in that one run that he had. Kurt Holobaugh sucks at this point in his career. They're both old fucks. Well, not really. I was talking more about him and Cody Gibson. The two Ultimate Fighter winners. I just don't... God, that season was so dumb. God, that season of the Ultimate Fighter was so bad. I can't go on a rant about this. Holobaugh being 38. I like his jiu-jitsu game against Alexander Hernandez. Do I think Hernandez is going to engage in grappling? Because I like Holobaugh off bottom more than on top. Do I think Holobaugh is going to chain takedowns and constantly get Alexander Hernandez down at lightweight? And Hernandez looks better at lightweight rather than featherweight. So I do think that Hernandez should stay at lightweight. But his last fight against Austin Hubbard wasn't impressive at all. It was really disappointing. But I do think Hernandez will do better. I'm going to pick Hernandez. I can't pick Kurt Holobaugh in Big 2025. I do like Holobaugh's submission game, but I don't think he's going to be the guy, again, at 38 years old. He's coming off a win. They're both coming off wins. But Holobaugh, I don't think he's going to be active enough to get him down and to actually, put the pressure on Hernandez. I think Hernandez is going to be the one pushing the pace the entire fight. He's not going to really go for takedowns on Holobaugh. I expect a late TKO finish, or I expect a decision win. I'm going to say decision for Alexander Hernandez. I think he gets another win, and maybe they start looking up towards better unranked guys next, but maybe like an oral bye fight or something like that. But I'm going to say Hernandez gets the win. Moving up the card, co-main event. I'm never going to get his name right. Chidi Njokuani. I don't remember how to say his name. If I'm right, fucking kiss me. I don't know. Versus Zaleski dos Santos. This is a hard fight. They're both old. You know, they're both past their prime, 38 and 36. Dos Santos coming off a KO win. Dos Santos is very, very good. He's absolutely the true gatekeeper of welterweight in terms of unranked guys. And I think he's very, very good. This would be a very impressive win for Chidi and Njokuani. But his win over Jared Gooden, or no, not Jared Good. Oh my God, fuck me, dude. It's been a long day, guys. Alessi Zaleski dos Santos had the KO win over Zach Scroggin. Again, I believe that was on short notice, if I'm correct. Yeah, that was the Apex 100 card. And there was like a bunch of short notice replacements on that card, and that ended up being terrible. So a KO win, you know, I believe it was by first round. I can't see on here, but I believe it was a first round KO. He looked really, really good in that fight. Zaleski dos Santos, he hasn't really regressed too much in his career. I've got him in this one. I don't trust Njokuani to outstrike Zaleski dos Santos, and I think when he gets his moments on the feet, I think he's going to be better. I think it'll be actually a war. I think this is going to be a really good fight on the feet, tight cage. You know, two guys looking to try and, you know, make one last run to a ranked opponent or something to that degree. But I think Zaleski dos Santos, the true Apex King, will get this one done. I'm going to say by third round TKO. To the main event, Marvin Vettori versus Roman Dolidze. Okay. Huh. Who am I going to pick? I've thought about this fight for a few weeks now, and I really don't know who I'm going to pick. I've really thought about the exchanges, who's the better grappler, who's going to be better on the feet. Vettori's going to be better on the feet. Absolutely. He's got chin of steel. Dolidze's got no fucking true ability on the feet, if we're going to be honest. I mean, he's ranked middleweight, but he's a grappler. He wants to take you down and hold you and, you know, look for submissions. He's looked good recently. I love what Roman Dolidze's been doing recently. He's been staying active. He's been winning fights. You know, he had the Anthony Smith win on short notice at light heavyweight, but again, that's Anthony Smith. And then he goes and beats Kevin Holland, but again, that's Kevin Holland. Who the fuck has Kevin Holland beat recently? I'm saying recently because we're not going to talk about his Buckley win or any of that shit. Recently, Kevin Holland's looked terrible, especially at middleweight. And Dolidze's fucking massive compared to Kevin Holland. Like, I knew that was going to be such a quick and Kevin Holland quit, as, you know, as always. God, he's probably going to kill me now. Whoa! 45-70! Okay. Vettori, it's almost been 2 years. God, this fight is so frustrating to think about. Like, I am not excited to watch 5 rounds of this, guys. Vettori, it's almost been 2 years since his last fight with Jared Cannonier, where he somehow didn't get finished. Cannonier was landing every possible strike you could imagine on Vettori's face, and Vettori just refused to go down and actually, like, look like he was in pain. But he lost, and he didn't look great on the feet. But Roman Dolidze is a huge step down on the feet compared to Jared Cannonier. Huge step down. Completely different levels. And, I mean, that's not even a hot take. But Vettori's been out for a while. And, you know, I believe he had 2 broken hands. So he had to get surgery on those. Now, despite all that, I'm going to pick Marvin Vettori. The more I think about it, the more their grappling almost equals out. I might trust Roman Dolidze just a little bit more just because of his activity. I think he'll be a little bit better about his ability to, you know, get takedowns and to actually enforce grappling positions. Compared to Vettori, I think Vettori's going to kind of keep it on the feet. And I don't know, he might try and, take him down, but I really do think Vettori's going to keep it on the feet. And I think Vettori has very good wrestling and wrestling defense, and I do think that we're going to see Vettori defend Dolidze's takedowns, especially later in the fight. I think this fight's going to go late. But, guys, I mean, you can almost guarantee a decision. I'm betting on a decision. If I was betting, I would bet over whatever the fight time is. I don't give a fuck. Pick it by decision. Trust me. Vettori's not going to get fucking cracked, and I don't think Dolidze gets finished either. Dolidze didn't even get finished by Imavov, guys. If I'm remembering right. So, let's chill out. I think Vettori wins. I think it's going to be a decision. 49-46 on a couple scorecards, 48-47 on one of the scorecards. Dolidze will have some good early rounds, I would say, where he's attacking takedowns and he's getting in good grappling positions. He maybe gets a really good choke or armbar attempt at some point during the fight. Vettori will get out. Vettori, he seems calm in the fight week. The time off, obviously not great. There's going to be a little bit of rust early. I think that's why Dolidze wins the early rounds, but I do think later in the fight, I trust Marvin Vettori a little bit more. He's shown more experience in title fights than Roman Dolidze has. Well, not title fights, but 5-round fights. Vettori's only 31. He's still young in this game. He's still got a lot of time left in this game. He's taken damage, but I don't think this isn't the guy who's going to chin him. I think Vettori's next loss in the UFC will either be a similar fight to a Jared Cannonier. It would have to be like a 5-rounder against a guy who's just completely outclassing him on the feet and is not going to get completely held in the grappling like a Jared Cannonier. I think if Marvin Vettori fought Caio Baralho, I mean, that would just be brutal. But he wouldn't go down. I think the only time we're going to see Vettori truly lose, especially by finish, is going to be to a KO. Sometime his chin will get cracked, and he's going to go out. Usually once these guys, they have their chin, their granite chin, they're going to go out eventually. And when it goes, it goes. It's not coming back. So I do think that Vettori will have that going into this fight. I think he has that for at least a couple more years left in his career, depending on his matchmaking. But I've got him in this fight. I'm going to say in the Marvin Vettori comeback in the epic rematch. If you guys seen the first fight, it was very, mid, uneventful, and pretty similar to the way I've described it, honestly. So I'm going to say Vettori, 5-round decision. This is going to be very similar to the first fight, except it's 5 rounds. And I think Dolidze will have good moments in the opening rounds due to the rust and out of octagon time that we've seen from Marvin Vettori recently. Not being in there, not being active since the Cannonier fight. He had 2 hand surgeries. We've got to see what Marvin Vettori can do first, and I think he's going to be a little hesitant to start. Dolidze's not going to do shit on the feet though, so I don't think he'll take any damage, which will lead him to getting the better of him in the later rounds. So I'm going to say Marvin Vettori, a couple 49-46s and a 48-47 by UD. He gets it done, gets a win, and then maybe we see, I'm trying to think of what fight we could see with Marvin Vettori. If we don't see Fluffy versus Cannonier, maybe a Fluffy versus Vettori fight would be okay. Who's that middleweight? Young, at least in the teen rankings. Maybe if Bo Nickel gets a win, that wouldn't be a bad matchup. Even an RDR matchup would also be great. But yeah, I would say that. Dolidze, I think Dolidze should move up to 205, honestly. He looked good size for the division. I think if he truly correctly bulked up rather than taking a few days' notice, I think he could actually do some really good things in that division. I think he could get into the top 10 easily. All right, that's it for me. Thank you all for watching. That was brutal. That was a brutal one. I wish you all luck watching the fights this weekend. Please don't fall asleep, especially during the early prelims if you're a true fan. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good one. I'll be back. I don't know. Oh, tomorrow, because I'm uploading another video tomorrow, and then After that, I'll have a few days off. See ya.